Alright guys, welcome. This is going to be the review for the Ontario Rat Model 1. Now just Ontario Model 1 with a new logo. And I've kind of changed things up a little bit on this video. I have 10 categories I'm going to talk about. Price, blade steel, out-of-box sharpness, blade shape, handle material, ergonomics, locks and liners, the pocket clip, fit and finish in my opinions. And out of those 10 categories, I'm going to award 10 points per category. Now, this is all subjective. This is what I think. So if you think differently, then create your channel and do things differently. That's pretty much what I want to say. And I'm going to go ahead and, out of these categories, I'm going to give them 10 points each for a total of 100 points. And kind of do it that way. Anything above 80% is going to be recommended by me, in my opinion. So let's get right onto it. Now, I do have several shots of me using this, and let me see if I could pull up some so that I don't repeat myself with those shots. Alright. So, I have a video of me unboxing this, and then I have a video of me cutting an orange.
Alright, so my first day with this knife, it is the Ontario Rat Model 1, or Ontario just Model 1. I'm still trying to get over how smooth this knife is. Literally, it's a little bit of pressure opens this thing up. And it's no wonder why this thing's gotten so many raved reviews. Perfect blade centering. Let's see how well it does then. I stropped this already. Out of the box it was sharp, but every knife that I'm going to use, I'm going to strop it. So here we go. So let's just see how it cuts. Oh man, it's like, again, my ever-sink butter. The knife blade is so big that I have no problems grabbing any kind of leverage issues. That coupled with the sharp blade just feels fantastic. So I'm purposely cutting light right now just to see how sharp the blade is, but this blade is extremely sharp. If I just give it a little bit more pressure downwards, it'll cut much faster. All done. And the greatest thing about this is if you look at where the juice touched, it did not even get close to the pivot. Not even close to where the pivot is. Fantastic blade shape, fantastic design.
I think I have a weight too, but I actually checked the weight on this today. It's 5 ounces. 5 ounces. The weight's gonna go along with one of these. I'm gonna say Ergonomics maybe, or just fit and finish. No, I don't know. I don't know where the weight's gonna fall in here. Alright, let's get on with the review. The price. I don't have everything loaded up, but I think I paid about $30 for this knife. I'm going to go ahead and check for you right now. That's relatively easy to look up. Starbucks hibiscus tea today for my drinking pleasures. So here we go. Yeah, I paid $30. $30 for this knife, so that's the price. I'm not going to get onto the final rating of the price because I have to compare blade steel, out-of-box sharpness, blade shape and all that. Well, blade shape doesn't really matter about price, but handle material, it actually does. So for the price, straight off the bat, it's actually very good. I'm not going to give a final point for it yet, so category 1 stays just nothing for now. Let's go on to number 2, blade steel. This is an AUS-8. It's a Japanese steel. It's made in Taiwan. Knife itself is made in Taiwan, and you know I like AUS-8, and especially for this price point of $30, definitely something that is not lacking at all. So that's not going to hurt the points on the price. Out of box sharpness, this thing was freaking sharp out of the box. You know, that gets a full 10 out of 10. So right there, blade steel for the price, it gets 10 points. Out of box sharpness, it gets 10 points. So it's really sharp out of the box. Alright. So I don't really like doing too much of these cutting videos because obviously cutting paper doesn't tell you anything about the quality of the knife. But I have so many scratches of paper. Why not? Why not entertain myself? So it is obviously extremely sharp right now. I did strop this, and it just takes so little, and you can tell I'm going so slow, and it just does wonders to paper. So I did not sharpen this. I didn't put my own edge on it. The only thing I did was strop it out of the box. So out of the box, this thing comes freaking sharp. So it gets 10 points. Let's see your blade shape. I really like this blade shape. And here's the reason why. Your mileage may vary. But I like how there's a space here between where the blade starts and the blade. And I like how it's kind of indented right there. Indented right there. So what I noticed, besides the fact that it's a fingerprint magnet, is when I cut into fruit, which is what I do a lot of. I do a lot of food prep with this. Snack prep, really. The biggest issue I have when using knives for the past, I don't know, a decade, is that juice gets into this pivot, and then it's no longer that smooth. It's no longer smooth, and that's the biggest issue I had with folding knives, is that when juice gets into that pivot, that smoothness goes away. So this really remedies that issue. There's so much space in between the cutting edge and the actual knife itself that the juice, and the channels right here where it indents in, it really stops the juice from going inside the pivot itself, kind of rides out. It's a freaking fantastic blade shape. I really like it. And just for example, most knives do have this. There's a little bit of space on the blur, but it does have that channel to kind of shoot down the juice. And a very comparable blade, I would say, is this Soggy, just where you do have that channel that does shoot down the juice here as well. So most knives do. A knife that's not as pronounced would probably be the CRKT Ripple. It's rounded, and it kind of goes in, but this actually, I had to be very careful when cutting my fruit because I was afraid juice might get into the bearing system in this thing. And that any kind of citrusy juice will really jack up your pivot, will make it hard to open. This thing is buttery smooth still, obviously. I was very careful with that. So, blade shape, 10 out of 10. Okay. Let's move on. Handle material. So this is not G10. G10 is actually FRN, fiberglass reinforced nylon. Although when you look at it, you could, obviously think it's G10. And for the price point, again, not so bad. But that FRN is kind of thick. And although the ergonomic feels so good, and because of this deep finger choil right here, and really good jimping up on the top of the blade right there, or kind of ramps up. The G10's, the FRN slipperiness doesn't really bother me too much, but what I did notice is when I do get stuff on there, it doesn't come off, and no matter how much I clean it, it just doesn't come off. So I'm going to go ahead and knock the FRN a little bit. I'm not a huge fan of FRN, I prefer G10, but they could have put G10 scales in here. Could have, it's not a necessity, but that's just one thing that, can't give it a 10 out of 10. It's a little bit too thick. If you're going to put FR maybe a little bit thinner, would be good. So for handle material, I'll give it a 9, which is a very high score. And the only thing is because if this was a little bit more grippy, it would have had a much higher score, but this it's very slippery. There's no grip on it. Maybe if that grippiness should drop it down to an 8 because it's handle material. Yes. So along with that, this is pretty much it, and I could go ahead and give you the bang for your buck on this knife. It's gonna be a 10. You get really adequate blade steel, fantastic ergonomics. Just for the money, it's good. It's good. So I'm gonna give it a 10 out of 10 for money. Now ergonomics. Let's go ahead and get to that. How it feels in the hand is freaking awesome. I love it. There's room left over, even in a front saber grip. In a hammer grip, I have more room left over here. Just the handle on this thing is freaking perfect. I love it. I love it. There's no other word to say for it. It's just good. All right. So for ergonomics, that's a 10. And this knife's gonna score very high, just because it's a good knife. It's just a good knife. Now locks and liners. So this does have a liner lock, and it's never failed on me. It's been perfect. And how I test these is just with my hands. I'll see if I get it to fail as hard as I can this way, and there's no problems with it at all. It has steel liners. I really like steel liners. I kind of wish it was skeletonized to kind of reduce that 5-ounce weight. So that's the only thing I could dock this for, is skeletonizing. Now I understand it's extra work to skeletonize, and this jimping in the back is also extra work, but they did do that. But the weight, 5 ounces, is a little bit heavy for me. It's a little bit on the heavy side, so if they were just to skeletonize that, maybe charge another $1 or $2 for less metal. So it does get docked. I need to give it I'll give it an 8. Number 8, pocket clip. What I noticed about this pocket clip, it rides very well. It does well. It did better than I thought. I've actually put this in my my shorts, and it did perfect. It never came off. Nothing ever caught up in it. I really like the pocket clip design. I kind of wish it was kind of a deeper carry. Alright, so I'm going to head out of the house real quick. So I just am in shorts and a t-shirt. And of course, some under non-importance. But the knife seems to hide very well in the shorts. Okay, so it is a little bit heavy with all my stuff in there. Just dragging my pants down a little bit. Deployment, very good. I'm surprised for the size of this knife. I did not think it would carry so well. It's incredible how smooth it is. Really tight lockup, no blade play. And it does clip right back in and disappear. So that is kind of an update of me carrying a really quick trip out and back in. Like I said, it hides very well. I do have my full-size wallet that I can get to without a problem. And these aren't particularly deep deep pockets, but they are, because it goes down to here, so they are plentiful. Knife is right about there. Very good. You know, a little bit deeper would have been nicer, but I have no problems with this pocket clip. Only issue, I don't like painted pocket clips because it's going to wear. So I will give this an 8 because it's not deep carry and it's just a painted pocket clip. But for the most part, it does well. That's still a really good score. Fit and finish, and then weight. Fit and finish is fantastic. This thing, I'll go ahead and lift the blade off so you can see where exactly the blade is. As it comes down, perfectly centered. And it's smooth. It is smooth. It is just as smooth as a knife on bearings. And I would say this because I'm going to say the ripple is on bearings. This thing is incredibly smooth. Obviously it's on IKBS bearings, but as smooth as this is, this Ontario Rat Model 1, it rivals the smoothness of that ripple. easily. So basically, right where the lock is, if I just give it a little bit of pressure, it just snaps closed. All I need to do is push this out, even at a slow rate, and it opens up so quickly. It's incredibly smooth, no blade play. Fit, finish, it's freaking fantastic, okay? We're gonna give it a 10 out of fit and finish. And finally, my overall opinion on this knife. I love a big knife like any other person that likes a big knife. Really do. But that handle being that big is interesting because this SOG handle is perfect. It's big, it still has room left over, I get a full purchase. But the cutting edge, the SOG is just a little bit bigger. It's a tad bit bigger. So let's see if I can line up the points for you here. Might as well do that. The cutting edge. Now, it's not about a big blade, but the thing is, they didn't need to make the handles this big, and I understand there's a Model 2, and I'm not going to purchase it because honestly, I don't like small blades, period. That's why I prefer the Griptilian over the Mini Griptilian. But just a little bit big. My hands are starting to get sweaty now, and this thing is already slipping and sliding. So again, same glass-filled nylon material, but this SOG is much more grippy. And my hand's just as sweaty, but this thing does not slide all that well compared to that. This thing, if I put my hand in an angle, I kind of give it a little shake, it falls right off. SOG, I put it in an angle, I give it a little shake, still, for the most part, stays on. So that's why I kind of docked it for the handle material. In my overall opinion, do I recommend this? Hell freaking yeah. I recommend this to anyone that loves smooth blades. This is such a good knife for the price. I can't believe Ontario can make such a quality knife at this price range with the nylon and brass phosphate bushings, washers. It just is smooth, very smooth. I really like this. Again, I'm not left-handed, but with my left hand, if I could flick this open, it's kind of a testament to how smooth a knife actually is. So, will I recommend it to somebody? Yes. It really depends on situation though, because I work in an office, so this what I felt was a little bit too big and it's very intimidating. So when I opened this up, people were like, oh, it's a big knife, you know? But then when I was shopping, buying new things, and when I opened this up at a Big Five, they were like, oh, that's a nice knife. Again, so it really depends on situation whether I recommend this or not. For office use, I don't recommend this. Something a little smaller with the same cutting edge will do just fine. I'm going to clean this up, so I'm going to put this away now. There's so many other knives I want to try out. And what I notice is when you clean with a little bit of hand sanitizer, I'm pretty sure it's the alcohol that's doing this, it gets that blade so pretty. Love this blade shape. So will I recommend? Yes, I'll give it a 10, which means the overall score, the total, is going to be at a 94. Just fantastic. This knife is an A+ knife. Alright, that's my review. I do recommend it if you're looking for a knife in the sub 30s, I guess, price range, or at least the 30 to 40 price range. This is definitely a checker outer, per se. If your hands aren't as big as mine, definitely check the Model 2 out. And it's going to be lighter. The Model 2 is going to be lighter. The weight on this thing is quite hefty, but me being as big as I am, carrying this was not a problem whatsoever. Alright, well, thank you for watching. If you have any questions on this, leave a comment. I'll try to get back to you. If you have another knife that wants to be reviewed, again, leave a comment. I'll try to get around to it. And with this new point system, let's see how that works out for future reviews. Alright.